I did not expect to cry at Inner Workings, but I did, and it is so worth it. This is so beautiful. This is a Disney short film from 2016. It's directed and written by Leonardo Matsuda, and we have a voice cast including Tucker Gilmore and Raymond as Persi. And there will be spoilers as I discuss what happens in this, and I'll also talk about why I got a little bit emotional, but it is beautiful. I'll sum up very quickly without spoilers, then I'll go into some spoiler detail. The animation quality is absolutely stunning. It's about this office worker. We start the film with him starting his day, and he's in the shower. We get to see some of his thoughts. He's going to work. On his way to work, there are various temptations, and he entertains the thought of entertaining those temptations for a second, and then his brain says, well, if you do this, all of these things will result in a bad situation. And he goes to work, and the office is very mundane, monotonous. There are a lot of other workers there all doing the exact same, basically robotic movements. And it's not a happy existence. And I won't say what happens next. I will in a moment. But I really needed this. And I think there are a lot of people who need to see this. And I will discuss more what I mean by that. The animation is absolutely stunning. Visually, it is gorgeous. I love the fact that most of the emotions in this came from his intestines and his heart and his brain, because they have facial expressions. They have responses to the situations. We do also get to see Paul's face, Paul's reactions to things, of course. But I like the fact that it's kind of showing what you do, what you think, how you feel. It's not just in the brain. Other parts of your body respond to this as well. And I thought it was a really fascinating concept, beautifully animated, and absolutely a wonderful narrative. The whole thing is about 6 minutes, and I loved every second of it. So I will now explain what happens, the message that I took from this, and why I think it's something so many of us could really benefit from. While Paul is sitting at his desk, he begins to imagine what will happen if he stays in the safe lane and doesn't give in to any of these temptations, such as eating the nice food that he wants to have every now and then, and instead he imagines doing the same job, the same monotonous, repetitive movements until he gets older and crawls into his coffin, and that's basically what we see. And he realizes on his lunch break, it's not worth it. And I loved how this played out, because on his lunch break, we see it's 12 o'clock, all of the other workers get their little brown paper bag out, and Paul decides, no, not today. And off he goes, and he has the food that he wanted in the morning. He buys the sunglasses that he wanted to buy, and we see him enjoying all of this. And then he comes back to the office, because you can't just give everything up. You do need to work sometimes. But because he has allowed himself this hour, or however long his lunch was, to just let loose and be free and enjoy life, he was then able to work much happier in the afternoon. And I think that that's a really important message. Life is about balance. You can't just have all of the luxury, all of the temptation, all of the time. But if you allow yourself the chance to enjoy those moments, it makes it so much easier to do the things that we need to do around about that. And I think it's very true. I think it's something we can all relate to. If you do the same thing over and over again, you're going to experience burnout. You need to take a break. And if you take a break, you can then come back to that potentially monotonous task, and it doesn't seem quite so bad. And this is what we see with Paul. And I love that. Had they just shown him going off and living his best life, as it were, and not coming back to the office, I think the message still would have been great, because life is for living, time is short. But the fact that it showed him understanding that he can spend that hour enjoying life, but he does need to come back to the office, because this is reality. This is the real world. For most people, that will be the most relatable situation. But he was happier. And then everybody else around him was happy. And it was just joyous and wonderful, and I loved it. He is painfully relatable, and I think that many of us can really do well to maybe take a leaf out of Paul's book and spend even a lunchtime or an hour a day, or however much time we have, doing something that we've maybe considered isn't part of our routine, but maybe something that would actually make us feel good on the inside, and then that will affect our productivity, affect our mental health, affect our abilities to live a happy, successful, productive, joyful life. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. The animation is gorgeous. If you haven't seen it, definitely check out Inner Workings. I think it's really fabulous.